Hi guys, welcome again to this exciting session, Automating Stock Data Analysis in Excel. This video tutorial is a guide to develop stock price or a market data fetching and analysis tool using a macro in Excel. Stock price/market data fetching and analysis tool. It involves 1. Retrieving stock prices from an external API or website. 2. Importing them into Excel. 2. Importing them into Excel. 3. Performing analysis on the data. Let's learn step-by-step developing a stock price or market data fetching and analyzing tool. Step 1. Get access to a stock price API. To fetch real-time or historical stock data, you'll need access to a stock market API. Some common options include AlphaVantage, free for limited requests. Yahoo Finance API, free or premium options. IX Cloud offers free and premium plans. These APIs will give you access to stock prices in a structured format like JSON or CSV, which can be used in Excel. JSON is JavaScript object notation is used to share data between different applications. Step 2. Create an API key. 1. Go to the AlphaVantage website, sign up, and get your API key. 2. The API URL to fetch stock data looks like this. https://www.alphavantage.co/query $time_series_daily &symbol =IBM &a pi key =your API_key. Replace your API_key with the key you receive and change IBM to the stock symbol you're interested in, like Apple for Apple. Now understand what is meant by symbol. A stock symbol, also known as a ticker symbol, is a unique series of letters assigned to a security or stock that is traded on a stock exchange. It represents a particular publicly traded company. For example, Apple. This is the stock symbol for Apple incorporated on the NASDAQ stock exchange. Let's first get the API key. API is Application Programming Interface. To fetch real-time or historical stock data, let's use AlphaVantage, which provides free stock price data for developers. To fetch real-time or historical stock data, let's use AlphaVantage, which provides free stock price data for developers. Step 2. Create an API key. Go to the AlphaVantage website, sign up, and get your API key. Then replace your API key with the obtained API key. Start any browser and type AlphaVantage API key in the search box. Here is the AlphaVantage website link. Click it to open it. Stock Market Data API. Let's obtain the API key. Now, let's click on Get Free API Key to get it. To claim the API key, fill the following form. Select Software Developer from the drop-down list to describe yourself. In the organization labeled text box, type individual if working for yourself, or the name of your organization. Provide your email address. Now click on Get Free API Key. Congratulations! You have obtained the API key, copy and used it in the URL, Uniform Resource Locator, to access the market data. Here is the required URL. Paste the copied API key. Now let's copy the complete URL updated for the obtained API key. It's time to test it. Open New tab in browser window and paste the URL to test it. Pressing Enter key will request AlphaVantage web server for required market data. The market data sent by the AlphaVantage website is in JavaScript object-oriented notation. JSON is a lightweight to exchange data between two different applications. Recall back stock symbol. A stock symbol, also known as a ticker symbol, is a unique series of letters assigned to a security or stock that is traded on a stock exchange. It represents a particular publicly traded company. For example, Apple. This is the stock symbol for Apple Incorporated on the Nasdaq Stock Exchange. Other companies' symbols can be specified as per the requirement. Example, Google or Microsoft Corporation. The other important parameter is function that specifies daily weekly or monthly data is to be fetched. Let's request weekly data by changing this value for the function parameter. Now observe the date in JSON data obtained as response. Now let's get monthly data. Observe the change in the response obtained as JSON data. So guys, we have obtained the API key and using it in the URL to get the market data in the JSON format. Step 3. Install a JSON parser library for VBA. 1. Install a JSON parsing library. Since Excel VBA doesn't natively support JSON parsing, you need to include a library. One commonly used library is VBA JSON by Tim Hall. Download it. 2. Include the JSON parser. Once you have the JSON converter.bas file from the repository, in the editor, click File, Import File, and select the JSON converter.bas file. 3. Enable Scripting Dictionary. For parsing JSON, you need to add a reference to the Microsoft Scripting Runtime. 1. In the VBA editor, go to Tools, References. Two, scroll down and check Microsoft Scripting Runtime. Let's download and install JSON library for Visual Basic for application in Excel to parse the JSON response. Step 3. Install a JSON parser library for VBA. Since Excel VBA doesn't natively support JSON parsing, you need to include a library. One commonly used library is VBA JSON by Tim Hall. You could download it from here and import it into your Excel project. Here is the URL to obtain the JSON library for VBA. Control+click opens the URL in the browser window. GitHub is a developer platform that allows developers to create, store, manage, and share their code. Clicking on Download zip will download the .rar file on your system. Here is the JSONconverter.bas file to import in Excel to use the JSON library. Here is the VBA_JSON RAR file download from ITHB. Right on this file and select Extract option from the pop-up menu. Here are the extracted folder. It has JSONConverter.bas file to be imported. Two, include the JSON parser. Once you have the JSONConverter.bas file from the repository, open your Excel workbook. Press Alt plus F11 to open the VBA editor. In the editor, click File, Import File, and select the JSONConverter.bas file. Let's now open the Excel workbook to import the .bas file. Select Visual Basic option displayed when clicked on the Developer menu option. In the Code window, select Import option from the File menu option. Specify the path of the .bas file. For parsing JSON, you need to add a reference to the Microsoft Scripting runtime. In the VBA editor, go to Tools, References. Scroll down and check Microsoft Scripting runtime. Select Reference option from the Tools menu in the VBA code window. It displays the dialog window. In the VBA editor, go to Tools, References. Scroll down and check Microsoft Scripting runtime. Here already select, so I skip it. Now guys, we are ready to parse and process JSON market data in Excel. Step 4. Create user-friendly dashboard. Cell for stock symbol input. Have a dedicated cell, e.g. B1, where users can input the stock symbol. Drop down for data type, daily, weekly, monthly, and provide a drop-down menu in B2. Start date and end date input. Add cells for users to input the date range. Buttons to fetch data. Add easy-to-click buttons for users to fetch the data. To make a dashboard for users to interact with Excel, to specify parameters like function and symbol to fetch the stock or market data. The table shows the parameters required to create the user-friendly dashboard to accept the symbol. Drop-down list to select daily, weekly, or a monthly data. Buttons to fetch the data from URL and importing data in Excel. Let's copy and paste into Excel sheet. Here are labels required in the dashboard. The start and end date can be used to filter the data between these two dates. Let's create the drop-down list for data type data, daily, weekly, monthly. One, click on cell B2. 2. Go to the Data tab, Data Validation. 3. Under Allow, choose List. 4. In the source box, type daily, weekly, monthly. One, click on cell B2. 2. Go to the Data tab, Data Validation. 3. Under Allow, choose List. 4. In the source box, type daily, weekly, monthly. Now let's add buttons to implement the required function. Let S create a macro getStockData as a procedure to fetch data using URL. Let's display some message to test the procedure using a MessageBox function. Let's create one more procedure to stop auto-refresh the data. Use MessageBox function to test it for the time being. Let's close and return to Excel. Make sure that Developer option is selected. Select Button option and add it to the dashboard. Assign the macro to this button from the available macros list in the dialog box. Here we select Get Stock Data Procedure. Let's change the caption to indicate button's functionality. Clicking on Button Execute the procedure and MessageBox function displays the message. Now let's add one more button to implement the Stop Auto Refresh functionality. It is also successfully done. Here is the sheet named Dashboard is ready as a user-friendly interface to get the market data as required. Step 4. Write the macro to fetch stock prices. You'll write a VBA, Visual Basic for Applications, macro to send an HTTP request to the API, retrieve the stock prices, and place them into your Excel spreadsheet. Here's VBA code outline for fetching stock data using AlphaVantage and inserting it into Excel. Public sub gets stock data. In sub, here is the outline of the get stock data macro developed as procedure with the sub and end sub keywords. Declare required variables and objects. Code for HTTP request, parse JSON data, and import in Excel. This outline will be used to create the required macro. I've already developed the code. Let's check it out. We have already discussed the outline of macro code. For errors, the macro will display message box with the appropriate error message. Here is the macro code developed to test the required functionality. This block has the declaration of all required variables and objects. This block references dashboard worksheet to get the required parameter entered or selected by the user. Here the worksheet named Stock Info will display the market or stock data. Replaced by Obtain API key. Function parameter will as per select from the drop-down list. Daily, weekly, or monthly. HTTP object is required to make the request to retrieve the market or stock data. If status code is 200 indicating success, the obtained JSON data is then parsed using VBA JSON library and imported in the Excel worksheet named Stock Info. Setting column header for the obtained data. From the second row onwards, the parsed JSON data will be copied to the Excel worksheet. Lastly, format the worksheet and make headings bold. Let's open Excel to add macro and test it. Here is the macro code as explained earlier. Let's close VBA code window and return to Excel. The label required is stock symbol. Recall, a stock symbol, also known as a ticker symbol, is a unique series of letters assigned to a security or stock that is traded on a stock exchange. Let's type Apple. This is the stock symbol for Apple incorporated on the NASDAQ stock exchange. Select data type from drop-down list. Stock info worksheet is empty. Click Fetch Data button to call the macro. Data successfully retrieved and imported in Excel sheet. Click on Stock Info sheet to check the data. Here is the data. It is a daily data. It worked. A demonstration of creating API key, user-friendly interface using dashboard sheet and develop macro code to parse JSON data using VBA JSON library to import data in Excel sheet. Step 5. Analyzing the data in Excel. Once the data is fetched and populated into Excel, you can analyze it by 1. Creating charts. Use the data to create stock price trends over time by selecting the relevant columns and inserting line charts or bar charts. Here is the sample code used to create the chart for analyzing the data. Remember, a picture worth 1,000 words /. One can change the range of date by specifying the range here. Let's change parameters to get data and then draw the graph of the select data. A button is added, and it is linked to the macro to the Create Chart procedure. Let change parameters to obtain different data and range to create the chart. Charts are customized by specifying different range to analyze the data so as to take a decision to invest. Continuing this way, we are able to visual data as per our requirement. Charts visually represents the data by specifying range. We have developed successfully stock price/market data fetching and analysis tool using a macro in Excel. Creating a stock price/market data fetching and analysis tool using a macro in Excel. It involves 1. Retrieving stock prices from an external API or website. 2. Importing them into Excel. 3. Performing analysis on the data. A VBA, Visual Basic for Applications. Macro is developed and tested successfully to send an HTTP request to the API, retrieve the stock prices, and place them into your Excel spreadsheet. And finally, able to analyze it in Excel. Advanced features you can add. Calculating indicators. Calculate stock indicators like moving averages, percentage change, or Bollinger Bands using Excel formulas. Applying conditional formatting. Use conditional formatting to highlight price changes, trends, or anomalies. Historical data. Fetch historical data for analysis over different time periods, e.g., 1 year, 5 years. Thank you very much for watching the video. Guys, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Also, like, share the video, and subscribe to my channel. Also, visit my blog for details. Thank you once again for watching the video.